Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nadiya Shah's incredible YouTube channel. My name is Natalie Levin of Natalie Levin Astrology, and you may find me on, I have a YouTube channel that is Natalie Levin Astrology. You may find me there. I'm so thrilled and honored to get to do the full moon astrology guidance video for the full moon in Capricorn that is happening on June 21st, 2024, 9:07 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. And I invite you to, as I'm speaking, keep in mind that I'm seeing the astrology through the veil of my experience in this lifetime. So if it doesn't match for you, I invite you to let it go. You get to take what you like and leave the rest about what I say. What I will do is start the video with a conversation with you, listener, about some themes that I see around this full moon in general, and then I will proceed to actually communicate what each astrology sign, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, go throughout the entire zodiac wheel and talk about what the rising sign might experience. Like if you're Cancer rising and a Gemini sun, you could listen to both the forecast for Cancer and Gemini that I'm going to talk about as this video proceeds. So again, thank you so much. I'm Natalie Levin of Natalie Levin Astrology, and you can find me on Instagram, Natalie Levin Astrology, Facebook, Natalie Levin, and on YouTube at Natalie Levin Astrology. And this very powerful and fascinating full moon that we are having on June 21st is intertwined with the fact that this solstice will have just happened, which I find very fascinating. So we're having this full moon in Capricorn, which is opposing the sun, and the sun has just landed in the sign of Cancer as we're having this full moon in Capricorn. So here are some themes immediately coming up for me around this polarity between Capricorn and Cancer themes that are up for this full moon. We have the theme of Cancerian energy, which is I am interested in making a cozy home. I am interested in themes of the mother, of the archetype of the mother. Am I a good enough mother for myself? Am I a good enough mother for my animals? Am I a good enough mother for little Natalie, who perhaps was not tended to as an infant might need, because Natalie's actual physical mother did not know how to do that? How can little Natalie, little Natalie inside me say, you know what, I really need some care right now. I need a hug. Like, Natalie, can you hug you? Can I actually put my arms around myself? If I have an actual child around me, and it doesn't have to be mine, but is there a child near me that I can actually, would you like me to hold you? How would that feel? Is there some place where I want to be in communication with my mother, my actual biological mother, whether or not she is in her body? And with this full moon, I can invite in a conversation with her higher self, her spirit, to say, let's say I don't have a particularly great relationship with my actual physical mother here, incarnate on planet Earth. Maybe there can be an invitation for me to talk to the higher self of my mother. When our spirits are not in our bodies, we really show up. Like if you're having a reading with someone and it's a psychic reading or a special a psychic medium, usually the highest form of Uncle Joe who left his body shows up, not Uncle Joe who might have been stoned and drunk all the time. Uncle Joe in his highest form shows up and he's like, hey, so can I talk to that form of my mother during this full moon opportunity to say, I am, thank you for birthing me through your womb portal. Thank you for taking on this karma to allow me to incarnate in your womb and to be birthed into this world and to have the opportunity to be on planet Earth in human form, which is a very rare occurrence. When a spirit incarnates in human form on planet Earth, it is said that there is rejoicing across all of the galaxies. So this is a really special thing to have incarnated through my physical mother onto this planet. Maybe that kind of awakening or awareness could be bubbling up for you with this full moon that's happening on June 21st, 2024. And there is also the Capricorn, the full moon is in Capricorn. So yes, the sun is in Cancer and the full moon's in Capricorn. I'm going to talk about that more. Yes, we have all this Cancerian energy, and the full moon in Capricorn could be asking us to say, okay, yes, you're having these tender feelings, and we have the Sun, Venus, and Gemini all in Cancer. Is that correct? Oh my gosh. Yes, it is. Yes, we have the Sun, Venus, and Gemini all in Cancer, and that's a lot of tender energy. And we have things to do. What is the next right thing for us to do? What is the next right thing I'm gonna keep the focus on the individual as opposed to going out into the collective. What is the next right thing for me to do in the energy of this incredibly potent full moon? Would it serve me best to go have a glass of water? Like, here, okay, I'm gonna take a drink right now, actually. Because it did. Yes, the answer was yes. Would it serve me best to go have something healthy to eat? Would it serve me best to lay down for 5 minutes and close my eyes? What is the next practical step for me to take? Knowing how to work with this, a lot of emotional energy that is up around all of three major planets in Capricorn and in Cancer right now. So I invite you to lean into the fact that, okay, I might be feeling a lot of watery energy with all the Cancer energy, and I can call upon the moon to say, hey, I would like some support in knowing what would be the next most supportive thing for me to do right now. So there's that. That's some great support. We also have, during this full moon in Capricorn, we have a very, very powerful hanging outage of, it makes me have to move like this, of Neptune, the planet of dreams, imaginations, of I'm dissolving. It is related to my connecting to spirit, and it also can be related to I'm diving into the realms of escapism and fantasy and addiction. That planet is Neptune, and it's sitting at the final degree of the entire zodiac, 29 degrees of Pisces. And on this full moon, it's going to be at 29 degrees of Pisces and 54 minutes. That is only 6 minutes away from it being in Aries. So that's a lot of, it's called penultimate energy. It's anaretic energy of Neptune in Pisces. So for me, it can feel like a lot of fog. I'm confused, I'm dreaming, I'm sleeping. My dreams are very epic. They go on and on forever. It's this kind of like seaweedy energy, the Neptune in Pisces. It's very like, see, I'm an anemone, that kind of energy. So that is very loud with this full moon. Yeah, it really is. Wow. Okay, I'm going to pause this for a moment. In addition to our having all of this Neptunian energy, we also have the energy of a very large amount. This started on May 25th. On May 25th, the planet, the largest planet in our solar system, which could contain 1,000 planet Earths, it's Jupiter. Jupiter entered the sign of Gemini and will be there for about a year. Those of you who have Gemini placements, I feel like this is really lovely for you in that you get this lovely benefic, the big good king coming to sit on, depending on what you have in Gemini. If you have your sun in Gemini, your moon, your rising, you get an expansiveness, which for usually is a lovely experience. So I'm happy for you. That sounds really nice. For the rest of us, I don't have any placements in Gemini. It can be, since May 25th, it can feel like, oh my gosh, there is so much data coming in. There's so much information. Gemini is data, Gemini is words. Gemini energy, its ruling planet is Mercury, and Mercury has a glyph. The like the sign, the hieroglyphic of Mercury has two antennae sticking up like this. So all of us right now are going around with extra antennae to receive extra information, downloads, information, downloads. And those of you who already have Gemini placements, this isn't unfamiliar to you. Those of us who are not blessed with Gemini placements are like, whoa, this is a lot of information that just keeps coming, keeps coming, keeps coming. So as of the full moon, we will have had the shift from of Venus and Mercury into Cancer, which I feel like, at least for me, is going to be a bit of a relief rather than having so much nonstop antennae receiving information from everywhere. It's not just up. It can be like, all of these different frequencies and vibrations coming in. So this would be an invitation as we're moving into the full moon and the solstice. Like an example is I have it's Florida water in this little jar, and I take it and I have to use a different sprayer. This is very makeshift, and so I take it and I spray myself and clear myself. Okay, whatever vibration is not meant to stay with me and on me, and whatever I have absorbed, but it's not really the best for me, I invite to release and let go, and I give thanks to, this could be something that you do during this time. I give thanks to the highest iteration of my ascension team that I am cleared of all of the different energies that are not supportive of my lifetime unfurling in the most benevolent, most divine, and most abundant timelines. There's a lot of invitation here during this time in general to really lean into what is my vision with Neptune in Pisces? What is my imagination? What can I dream into reality? Can I dream because there is quantum entanglement, whatever I am, again, I invite you to take what you like and leave the rest about what I say, but whatever I am able to imagine and dream up, it allows there to be the possibility of that actually happening. We have so much support to dream up new ways of being on this planet as a species, as interconnected species, with Pluto moving into Aquarius also happening. This is a long journey. During this full moon in Capricorn, we still have this very loud conversation of Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius. And because with this full moon, we have the full moon itself in Capricorn at 1 degree of Capricorn, and we have the sun at 1 degree of Cancer. We have a the 1 degree-ness of Pluto and the moon and the sun are all activating each other. So we get to really invite in this, can we, can there be a, I'm dancing with the, how beautiful it is and powerful, Pluto, to be interconnected with others. How can we, I know I own that I tend to be a little Pollyanna in when I'm speaking about astrology. Pollyanna meaning looking on the beauty hunting. And I really feel like that can be helpful during this time, because what else will just be coming off as this full moon is occurring. We'll be leaving the fact that Pluto and Mars have been in a square. Mars is in Taurus now, and Pluto is in Aquarius, and there has been this. It's a war aspect. And the last time that this kind of a square happened was October 7th, when in the Middle East there was the catalyst for the war that's been going on now since October 7th. So we are having another aspect like that in this there's a build up to the full moon. And when the full moon is happening, that aspect will have passed and we might be feeling the effects of it. So where can I step into with this full moon a sense of, with Venus, the goddess of beauty, the goddess of love, and the goddess of what we value, my sense of worth, with Venus intertwined with the sun during this full moon, can I lean into, I am worthy simply because I exist? Can I lean into Venus and the sun? I am inviting myself to call on Venus so that I walk around vibrating a frequency of love. I give thanks to Venus that I am walking around vibrating a frequency of love, and that I know what the next right thing is for me to do so that I am able to support myself in doing that. How does this land with you? I'm curious as you're listening. Let me see what else is coming up for me about this full moon. It's very exciting. It's a biggie. Let me pause this for one moment. This full moon will have Uranus, which is the planet of surprises, shocks, earthquakes, electrical explosions. Uranus doesn't have a gender. It will be at 25 degrees of Taurus, where it has not been for about 84 years. So we're having an experience with the planet of awakenings that we haven't had in 84 years, 84 to 86 years. So there is an invitation, again, because of the energy of Pluto dancing around at the very beginning degrees of Aquarius, and Aquarius energy is ruled by Uranus, that's the modern ruler. There is an invitation for us collectively to do something different. And in order for it to be collective, Uranus is, I'm doing something different. Uranus is, if I think I can imagine what it's going to be, I actually can't. So I'm not right. I'm not correct. So even if it's, I am going to use a different color pen today. I'm going to buy myself a purple pen to use. Maybe it's, I don't think people use pens anymore. That wasn't a good example. Or I'm going to put on a color shirt that I really don't usually wear. Let it begin so mundanely, especially since the planet of doing things differently is in an earth sign, is in Taurus, is in something that we can touch, you can feel, and the full moon is in Capricorn. What might you be able to do differently that puts you a little bit in a place of, this doesn't feel comfortable to me and I can bear it? Can that happen for you? What would it be like to start to break out of some of the patterns that you have so that you can become more comfortable with the fact that things are changing so much, and you can be proactively part of the change. We have, with this full moon, Mars in Taurus. When Mars in Taurus wants to get things done, but it's slow and steady wins the race. It's not, it's so you have an invitation to slow things down. It doesn't have to be, I'm doing it all at once. And also, there's an invitation here to, again, is there some, with Saturn in Pisces, is there some sort of conversation I want to have with myself about the way I connect with spirit and higher power and angels and guides? Is there something different that I want to do around that? So I wonder how this is landing for you. I'm going to pause for a moment, and then I'm going to start to do it sign by sign for how this full moon is landing for your zodiac sign and your rising sign. Thank you so much. Please stay tuned. Before I start talking about the different signs, I wanted to also add in that this full moon in Capricorn is also just coming off of our incredible shift from growing the days longer and longer and longer. The sunlight, at least on this hemisphere of Earth, of the planet, the days are growing longer, and then on the equinox we will have had on the 21st. Oh wait, no, yes, like right then we are having the day of the year that has the most sunlight, at least again in the Eastern Hemisphere, which is where I'm making this. Is this the Eastern? Oh my God, you guys. I don't know if it's the Eastern or Western. Let me tell you, I actually fell asleep during geography and history class. I did. That did not speak to me. So, whatever hemisphere I'm in with the United States, the day is going to be like the sun won't set till 9 p.m. and I think it rises at 5 a.m. and that's a really long amount of sunlight. So it's very, very stimulating for us. It's a very solar time. So I know that I'm hearing from a lot of people that they're like going. It's a lot of, whoa, I'm ready to get up and go. I'm a little embarrassed that I don't know that, but oh well, that's okay. This is a great example of the fact that no matter how much astrology you learn and how many years you study and how much one studies in general, we can never know everything. We simply can't. We simply can't. So that's in this too, because I've that's in this full moon too, because Saturn in Pisces. Pisces is the all. Pisces is I am the ether. I am all of the multiverses. And Saturn comes in and he's like, whoa, hold on. I'm going to give some structure to this. I'm going to try to organize this. And actually, it's not organizable. It's not all knowable. So I'm actually glad that example happened as a teaching moment. Like it's not possible to organize the all that is. And that can be also a theme of this full moon of, all right, I invite myself to surrender to what is right now and allow myself to soften into that, which is quite an ask with the full moon in Capricorn on the 21st. So, okay, wow, I feel like I have to do this. I have to have the words have to and should. Can I invite those words to fall away from my vocabulary? Have, should, and need. Like, I need to do this. I need to do that. Actually, could it be, I would like to. I invite myself to. It might be nice to. And see how that changes the way you go out into the world. This is a suggestion with this full moon. Okay, now I am going to go into the different zodiac signs. Just a moment. Aries and Aries rising. Aries and Aries rising. This full moon is happening for you in your 10th house, which is your house of your career, how you go out into the world, what people, in public, you in the public eye. It's the opposite of how you are when you're in your home and cozy and making your everything the way you want it to look. It's the opposite of that. It's actually this invitation, Aries and Aries rising, to be curious if there might be something bubbling up around your career with this full moon, and how, and I invite you to remember that your career is not necessarily why you came into your body. It might not be intertwined with my life's passion. For example, here's an example of how this might be playing out, Aries, Aries rising. I, for a while, worked in an office for 13 years. And while I was there, doing data entry or accounting, I would listen to astrology podcasts I listened to it because it was so soothing for me to hear that other people thought that there was some context to what was going on in the world. I didn't really understand what I was listening to, but it felt comforting to me. So that was my passion. My life mission's in Aquarius, which rules astrology, in the house of long-term relationships, contractual relationships. So me working one-on-one with other people. That's what I do. I see clients astrologically, and we work together. And so Aries, you might be noticing with this full moon, there might be like a magnifying light or like a spotlight on the fact, the way I am paying rent and eating is not really lined up with my heart's desire. And I invite you to know that that is not an emergency. This full moon might be activating some sort of, how can I actually make the two of those merge together? Or how can there be a little more of what I love and invited into how I am doing my career? Again, for me, sitting and listening to astrology forecasts or podcasts, and then having people in my office come over and say, Natalie, what's going on with the planets? Like, that was actually a way for me to do this. That's a great example. I'm like, that was really special. So I wonder, Aries, Aries rising, if something about that is bubbling up for you. If you're like, I really, really, really want to go and take people skydiving. I'm thinking of a very Aries thing. And so maybe on the side, like on a weekend, you start to become a skydiving instructor, like a certified skydiving instructor. That was very stereotypical Aries. It's something I would never do. I'm a Pisces. I'm a Cancer moon. It does not call me to skydive. Let me say it that way. And Aries, Aries rising, you also have the collective North Node in your sign right now, as well as Chiron. So there's, I feel like you could be feeling, depending on what degree your sun is or your rising, you might be feeling perhaps pain of the world, tenderness around the wounding of the collective, and can you take the next right steps to care for yourself around that tenderness that you're feeling? Know that for you, your sign is making a tension-filled conversation with this full moon. It's not like I'm flowing really easily. It's not a trine, it's a square. Your Aries is making a T square to the Capricorn and Cancer energies for that this full moon is expressing. So as an Aries, Aries rising, there's an invitation to remember, okay, this feels like a lot of energy to me. It feels uncomfortable. or because it's cardinal energy and you are a cardinal sign, cardinal energy begins the seasons and it gets things done. Because you're a cardinal sign, you might be like, this is great. This is really motivating me to do things. Keep in mind, you also, Aries rising, have Neptune just hanging out there right at the final degree before he goes into your sign eventually. I think in about I can't remember when that's happening, but so that can be this like, I know there's some strange, foggy, dreamy energy that's coming to me right now, and it's like just around the corner, lurking, and I know it's there. So I want to offer validation. It is there. Yes, it's not your imagination. So I invite you to, maybe for the full moon, there could be an invitation for you to just slow things down a little bit, since it's so much lunar energy. And maybe Aries rising, you could go with the waves of the energy around June 21st instead of jumping off the cliff before knowing if there's water at the bottom. How does this land, Aries rising? I'm going to pause this for a moment. Taurus and Taurus rising. Taurus and Taurus rising. This full moon for you is landing in your ninth house. Your ninth house. So themes that might be bubbling up for you around this full moon are travel, perhaps taking a new course, perhaps, especially since we're entering this new season of summer. There's something fresh and new perhaps for you, Taurus rising on the horizon, that you're like, I'm gonna take action with this. Yes, I've always wanted to learn to, I love, it's like also because Uranus is in your sign for this full moon, Taurus rising. It could be that you are really interested in doing something different, which is not usual for Taurus rising. So maybe there is an invitation to take some sort of a course, like I'm going to do, what is something very non-Taurus? I'm going to actually take a skydiving course, like I said to Aries and Aries rising. I'm going to dive into the energy of doing something different as a Taurus, because Uranus is in your sign, and so is Mars during this full moon. Oh my God, that's a lot of get up and go energy, Taurus rising, that you're working with on this full moon. And so the ninth house is journeys. It's education. It's expanding our consciousness. It can be inner or outer journeys. It can be, I am the teacher and or I'm going to find a teacher. I am, as Taurus rising, diving into, yes, I've always had my hair this color for my whole life, and I'm ready to shift it. I'm ready to change it. Let me do something really wild and see how that feels. Or it doesn't have to be so wild. It could be, I'm going to put a little streak in my hair that is slightly blonder than the rest of my hair. It could be something that subtle. If a big change doesn't call you on this full moon, the full moon is trining your sign. It's a harmonious energy for you. So I feel like you can really work with it productively. It's Taurus rising. You are having this interesting square happening during this full moon of Pluto in Aquarius to your sign. So if you have any planets in the early degrees of Taurus, which would be, let's say, April 22nd, 23rd, 24th, your birthday is April 21st, even possibly, you might really feel the energy of this full moon extra because you're also having Pluto squaring your Taurus placements that are the first degrees of Taurus. So it would be, again, 0, 1, or 2, or 3 degrees. It's extra for you. And if you don't know how to figure that out, you can always work with me and or pull up your chart, look up a way to pull up your birth chart online and then see where the degrees are of your Taurus placements. And sometimes I remember I didn't even know what anyone was talking about when I said to do that. So if you don't know how to do that, it's okay. I'm here and other people are as well. Keep in mind, Taurus rising, that there's a lot of Gemini energy during this full moon, which for you can feel like, what is happening? Unless you have a ton of Gemini placements. So it's a lot of this. We're coming out of this kind of like interpretive dance energy. And with the Gemini, with a bunch of Gemini planets having left Gemini, and we also have now these 3 planets, Taurus rising, in your 3rd house of communication. We have the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in your 3rd house of communication during this full moon. So there's an invitation for you to, because they're in the sign of Cancer, Taurus rising, how can I allow my words to be flavored with Aphrodite? You are supported in doing this. You have Mercury and Venus conjunct in Cancer. So there really is, Taurus rising, there really is okay, when I speak, I'm going to invite Aphrodite to be on my tongue. And so I invite the goddess of beauty, love, and a sense of worth to be with me as I speak, and allow her to flavor my words, and see how that lands on the people around you. I wonder how this lands for you, Taurus rising. I'd love to hear in the comments. Okay, I'm going to pause this. Thank you. Gemini and Gemini rising. This full moon for you is happening in your 8th house. So it's the house of sex, death, other people's money, taxes, inheritances. It can be inheritances that are actually monetary, or it can be I am receiving this ancestral inheritance, and do I actually want to continue what I've inherited from ancestral trauma, my DNA, my very cells and molecules that have the story of my ancestors from like 5 generations ago. Do I want to actually, with this full moon, think about what I can do differently from what my ancestors did? It's also, because the way this full moon is landing for your chart, Gemini rising, it is an invitation for you to, if there are money matters that you have to deal with, then this is helpful. You have the full moon shining her light on your area of your chart that is around taxes. If you haven't finished your taxes, or you took a delay, like an extension in filing them, this would be a great time for you to finish that up if you can. And Gemini rising, we are just coming out of having had like 5, at one point there were 5 planets in your sign, and then 4, and so it can feel like, I wonder if Gemini rising is feeling you're feeling a little more settled at this point, or less like because you already have the glyph for Gemini is Mercury. I mean, the glyph for Mercury, ruling planet, has 2 antennae up like this. So Gemini rising, are always receiving so much information from everywhere. And with all of those extra planets in your sign for like the past month or so, that I'm imagining was an incredible amount of stimulation for you. And now you get to take some big breaths with in your 2nd house, you have the sun for this full moon. You have in your 2nd house of like my body feeling grounded onto the earth. You have the sun, you have Mercury, you have Venus. So can there be some sort of, okay, I'm going to allow the water element to take my body and invite myself to feel a little slower. If you want to, I might be projecting onto you, Gemini rising, because I look at the Gemini energy and it feels so fast moving to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do people do this? So maybe it doesn't feel good to slow down. I hear from my Gemini clients that there can be a lot of anxiety lately with the Gemini placements. So maybe there's an invitation also to simply even take a shower, or since it's summer, dive into a pool or go into a body of water in some way. How does that feel to you, Gemini rising? Um, you're having awakening energy in terms of your connection to spirit in your 12th house while this full moon is happening. So it could be, I'm going to I'm going to communicate with my guides and angels in a way I never have before. Uranus is there, so it's inviting you to do something different. So I'm Gemini rising, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to jump up and down and like, hello, my guides and angels. I might do an ecstatic dance. Guides, angels. I call the highest iteration of my spirit team. I'm doing something really different so that if someone were looking at me, I might feel really embarrassed, but you get to do it in the safety and security of a private place. Like, what would that be like for you to try something and feel really silly, but no one's looking at you except for your guides and angels who are like, that's awesome. We love it. What does that feel like? What would it feel like to take in the slogan, what other people think of me is none of my business? How would that feel for you? Because you do have all of this mercurial energy, Gemini rising, and with the do something different energy happening while this full moon is occurring, and Mars also lighting up I'm going to get things going in your area of your chart that's around connection to spirit, connection to guides, connection to angels. What is it like for you to move your body and do something different? I wonder how this feels for you, Taurus rising. I'd love to hear in the comments. And I'm going to move on now to the next sign. Cancer and Cancer rising. Cancer and Cancer rising. This full moon for you is happening in your 7th house, your house of long-term relationships, contractual relationships, marriage, you working with others. I count this as the soul contract area of your chart. So perhaps it's the place where maybe I'm having soul contracts with my family members, my family of origin. What is my relationship to the people in my life with whom I have long-term relationships? So even if it's not marriage, it's I am your child, you are my child, you're my sister, you're my auntie. Like how is that going right now? How is that relationship area of your chart going, Cancer risings? I know for me as a Cancer rising, there's a lot of that up right now. And it can also be your soul contracts with beings who have left their bodies as well. That feels important to say with this full moon showing a highlight on that area of your chart. So it's really it's an invitation right now. Cancer risings, you're having a really lovely bounty of planets in the root of your isness, your 1st house, with the way I'm looking at this chart for this forecast, this guidance video. I'm a Cancer rising. So here I am with the Sun, Venus, and Mercury all in the root of my isness on this full moon. So here's an invitation to you, Cancer risings, to dive into, okay, I have Venus supporting me here. Venus is allowing me, inviting me to lean into my sense of worth, my sense of value, my sense of beauty, both inner and outer. How do I want to allow that to influence the way I move into the world? How do I want to allow, can I talk to Aphrodite? Can I talk to Venus? Aphrodite is Venus. And can I say, I really would love some support to feel my worth here. And also, as a Cancer rising, it can be challenging to keep the focus on yourself and to allow yourself to check in with, what do I need right now? How am I feeling? How can I best be served, from me to me? It's very, very, there's a lot of I am, I want, I need energy happening, Cancer risings, with this full moon for you. And it is an invitation for you to actually be curious about the answers to those inquiries. Like, how am I feeling? What is it like to be in my skin right now? That can be really not so easy for a Cancer rising to bring the focus back onto yourself. So I invite you to play around with that during this full moon energy, and maybe to even share with words, since Mercury is in your sign, share with words how you'd like to communicate about, like, maybe there's someone that I feel really safe talking to, and I might say, hey, I wonder, would you be open to listening to me as I share what it's like to be in my skin, as I practice that? And the person says, yes, I'd love to hear what it's like to be in your skin. So that's bubbling up for me right now with this full moon, Cancer risings. And I also, for you, um, you are having an invitation with this full moon to do something different, and have energy for doing something different when you're in communities, groups, and friends. So maybe there's someone new who comes into I mean, I'm having a new friendship bubble up during this time. Someone that I'm like, oh my gosh, I really think you're super amazing. I really enjoy talking to you. I really esteem what you do and how you do it. And so it feels really, this is the Uranus happening, Cancer risings in your house of communities, groups, and friends. And you might be seeing that. You might be seeing a shift or a change in your communities, in your groups. With this full moon, Cancer risings, I would invite you to see if there's some sort of contract work that you're doing, or you're working with a contractor. I would invite you to shine a really nice, a hearty spotlight on the contract that you might be about to sign, and see, how is this landing for me? Is it feeling like a good, like everything's clear? Do I want to bring in another set of eyes? If you're really doing a big contract, like let's say you're getting your whole house renovated, maybe you bring in uh, I don't know, like a lawyer. The word lawyer is coming up for me around this, to take a look at the contract before you actually sign it, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the lawyer. So here I am as the Cancer rising. Maybe my strong suit is not reading contracts, and I'm going to invite in someone to take an extra pair of eyes to before I sign the contract. Um, yeah. And I invite you to know that you're having, in the area of your chart that's around you learning and expanding your consciousness and journeys, you might be having an invitation to allow the way you learn to have less boundaries, because Neptune is sitting at the final degree of Pisces in your house of learning, Cancer risings. So can it be like really soft, free flowing, possibly, the way you learn? And again, I invite you to keep in mind that when I'm looking at this, this is a general forecast for Cancer, Cancer rising. It's not for your specific chart. So if you really want to know how this would land for your chart, you would reach out to me and we'd see about setting up an appointment. So that could be really helpful. Thank you so much. I'd love to hear how this lands for you, Cancer, Cancer rising. If you want to comment, I would love to read that. Leo and Leo rising. So excited for you. I'm always excited when I read for Leo, Leo rising. I'm like, thank you for existing, Leo, Leo rising. I think you're so dynamic and so alive, and I know that for me, my South Node is in Leo, so I feel very comfortable in Leo energy. It's like, oh, I remember this from my last lifetime. That feels really good. And Leo, Leo rising, your sixth house is being lit up by this full moon. Your sixth house and your 12th house axis. So there is an invitation for you, Leo and Leo rising, to wonder and be curious about my health, the area of my chart that's around my health and my daily life, and what is my craft? What do I do as my craft? How does that feel? What does that look like? Examples of a craft could be something that you've been working. Now, if you haven't been in your body a long time, like maybe let's say you're 30, 31, it's possible that you don't even know what your craft is. I know for me, and you might have several crafts during one lifetime. You might have multiple crafts. So that energy is being lit up with this full moon. What am I enjoying doing? Do I really love to go on stage and talk to a big group of people? Do I enjoy sitting more in the background and allowing others to shine? Like they shine my heart chakra light through what they're doing out in the world. Can I also, as a Leo, Leo rising, what am I doing to care for my own physical body and my own emotional, spiritual health? Do I want to add in some sort of a movement practice? Do I want to add in tap dancing? I can't really. I don't know how to tap dance, but that looked pretty good from like the waist up. So what do I want to allow into my daily life that might be a little different than what I've been doing? You have also in your career area of your chart, Leo, Leo rising, a lot of energy of shift and change that you've been having since March 6th of 2019. So I wonder if your career, like how you pay rent and eat, has shifted and changed during that time. That would make sense to me with Uranus moving through your 10th house. Leo, Leo rising, you're also having a soft and receptive energy to communicate with your guides and angels moving through your 12th house, which is I am connected to the all that is. Can I, as a Leo, allow in, I'm communicating with my angels and guides, and I'm trusting that they are going to invite me to know my sense of worthiness and my sense of I am worthy simply because I exist like a butterfly. Leo, Leo rising, can you also invite in the fact that you've been going through an invitation to dance even more deeply with spirit in ways that maybe no one else can see. With Neptune moving through your 8th house, he's been moving through there for years. It's been a long time. He's very slow. I think he might be since 2010. So he's finishing that up. It's like a culmination right now, and it could be an invitation for you to reflect back on how has my connection to spirit. I mean, if you're listening to this video, you are already connecting to spirit in some way. And whether you know it or not, I really believe that to connect in with the planets and the stars and the movement of the galaxies, for me, is pure spirit. So you're doing it whether you know it or not, Leo, Leo rising. And you have you do have a lot of energy right now. It looks like for you to, if there's something that this spiritual journey has invited you to do differently in terms of how I eat and how I pay rent, like the money, how I earn that, my career. This might be, you might have energy to actually make that change right now with Mars in your 10th house. I wonder how this is landing for you. I'd love to hear how it feels to you if this resonates in the comments. And I'm so glad to be with you. Thank you so much for being here, Leo Rising. And I'm going to go to the next sign now. Virgo and Virgo Rising. This full moon is happening for you in your 5th house, which is creative projects and children and lovers and hobbies. And so there's a lot of energy here, Virgo Risings, for you to have, be curious, how is my creativity going? Do I feel creative? If you have children, or you work around children, there's a focus on that. There's a spotlight on that energy. And I'm feeling this already from some clients that I'm working with that I know their charts that have Virgo Rising. It's, oh my goodness. Okay. What is the next right thing for me to do in terms of parenting these children? Parenting this child, parenting me as a child. How do I also, as a Virgo Rising, want to care for my own self around being my own best father, best mother, best possible father, best possible mother? There's an axis going on with this full moon for you, Virgo Rising, between there's a lot of energy while this full moon is happening in your 11th house, which is your friends, communities, and groups area. So if you get an invitation to go out during this time and be with your friends, be with even a new group of people, that could feel nurturing and supportive for you. You have Mercury and Venus in that area of your chart and the sun on this full moon. So I feel like that's really like, okay, on this full moon, I'm gonna go and actually be with some friends. I'm gonna see what that feels like. I'm going to go out with some friends and see what they're doing creatively and maybe feel inspired by what they're doing. That is a possibility. In terms of, since March 6th of 2019, Virgo Rising, you've been having this incredible awakening energy and change energy in the area of your chart that's around you going on journeys. It could be travel, it's connection to nature. It can be you having awakenings around your connection to nature. It can be you that you've been experiencing. This full moon is dancing with this. I am having awakenings around do I want to travel? Do I want to travel inward? Do I want to go on inner journeys? Do I want to go on outer journeys? Do I want to learn something new? Do I have a teacher that is really inspiring for me right now as a Virgo Rising? This could all be highlighted with this full moon. And you also are having in your contractual and long-term relationships area of your chart, you're having Saturn and Neptune there. So there could be some stuff up around this full moon of, oh wow, there's stuff I am invited to attend to creating some boundaries or structure around my marriage, or need some clarity after all the Neptunian energy in this contractual relationship that I'm having with, it can be a soul contract, a contractual relationship I'm having with my dad. Are there some boundaries that I would like to set around that relationship and how that's working? That's coming up for me too, Virgo Rising. I wonder how this is landing for you. I'd love to hear in the comments if you feel open to sharing. And I'm going to post this now. Thank you. Libra and Libra Rising. I am so happy to be with you. And I would love to let you know that this full moon in Capricorn is taking place in your fourth house, Libra, Libra rising. So there will be stories about, I am, as a Libra, Libra rising, what is going on in my family, where I make a home, where I make it cozy and comfortable for me to live, what is, do I want to do some tasks or work to make that feel even more cozy? The tasks or work is because it's in Capricorn, it's a full moon in Capricorn. I'm having a conversation, Libra, Libra rising, between, I'm having, it's called a T-square, between how do I find balance between the career area of my chart, me out in the public world, me being seen in the public eye, and dancing with this fulcrum of me in the public eye and me in my home with my family, my relationship also to the theme of mother, the theme of me as a mother, whether it doesn't matter what gender your physical body is, me as a mother to myself, me as a mother to others. What is the story with my getting nurture and in general, what does nurture look like for me? Does it look like it's really important for me to go out and be social and have friends and have time with friends? Is that part of what it's like to be me as a Libra, Libra rising? Do I want to make sure I have quiet time to go inside and be cozy and not actually, it's almost like I want to go into my cave. Libra, Libra rising, you've been having a very large amount of wake up, wake up, wake up energy in your area of your chart that is around your inheritances. It's your eighth house. It's your inheritances, both physical and ancestral. It's as a Libra, Libra rising, do I want to take a look at and examine what I've inherited, and what do I want to continue on and allow to proliferate, and what do I want to say I'm done and release it, bye-bye, I'm over, this is not, the buck stops here kind of thing. There can be that kind of awakening energy happening with this full moon of, oh, I don't want this to go on anymore. I have energy to stop it. Mars is in that house for you, energy for. Libra, Libra rising, it's also an invitation with this full moon to lean into, if you happen to be in a body that has a uterus, there could be themes around your womb and your moon cycle with this full moon. I wonder if some of you are absolutely getting your cycle on this full moon. That wouldn't surprise me. You're being invited, as this full moon is happening, to lean into, how am I feeling about my creativity? Am I able to access it? Do I want to dance even more with stepping into my power in the creative realms, as Pluto is beginning to travel across your fifth house, the house of creative projects and children? So there's a lot happening for you, Libra, Libra rising, with this full moon. Also because it's making such a big tension-filled energy, and you are a cardinal sign. So I make up that cardinal signs are like, okay, I feel a tension, like there's something that I should be doing, and I'm actually getting up and doing it. I feel inspired. I can get up and go, and even if it's not happening on the day of the full moon, Libra, Libra rising, you still might feel it bubbling up within you in the days before or after. So I'd love to hear how this lands for you. If you are open to sharing in the comments, I would love to read it. And I'm going to go on to the next sign. Thank you so much. Scorpio and Scorpio rising. This full moon for you is happening in your house, your third house, your house of communication and how your mind works. So there could be an invitation with this full moon happening on June 21st for you to be curious about have I been interested in writing something, and it could be I'm going to write a post and put it out there, and maybe one person will read it, or maybe a million will, and I'm going to simply do it for my own artistic or truth telling or completely creative reasons. I'm going to take this first step. The Saturn rules Capricorn. That's the full moon's in Capricorn. It's one step at a time. It's the goats climbing the mountain, and the ledges are this wide. So Scorpio rising, I'm going to take this tiny step. I'm going to write something, or say, make a video, make a reel, and I'm going to put it out there and see what happens. See how it feels to me without practicing non-attachment, which is not the easiest thing for Scorpio rising. I'm going to practice non-attachment to the outcome. I am, as a Scorpio rising, having a lot of energy in the area of my chart that's around my journeying, my connection to nature, my invitation to dance with my inner journeys and outer. Do I want to travel? Are themes around truth and justice coming up for me as this full moon is happening? It's flowing harmoniously for you, Scorpio rising. The full moon is in a sextile with your sign, and it's also there, the Cancerian energy is in a trine. So that's harmonious. So you can work with this productively rather easily if you'd like to. Remember that free will and love trump astrology. So there's no have to in astrology. It's a vibration, it's an energy of possibility. And you also are having, in your marriage and long-term relationship and contractual area of your chart, contractual relationships area of your chart, you're having awakening and energy for. I actually would not be surprised if you were to have some sort of surprise connection to, like you meet someone that is meaningful for you around this full moon. It could be someone, oh, I really have always wanted to work with you, like a teacher or a healer, or it's someone that you're like, I feel like I could envision us being married. That could happen too with this full moon. That sounds really nice. I invite you to keep in mind that your area of your chart that's around your family of origin and mother is beginning a journey of incredible transformation and alchemy. So you might also be feeling this on the full moon. It's like, oh, wow, I feel like I'm feeling the beginning of this powerful journey for me around how I relate to the idea of mother, how I relate to the idea of being the egg and the sperm coming together in the womb. How do I relate to, am I remembering what it was like to be in utero during this full moon? That feels like that could be bubbling up because Pluto's entering that area of your chart, the fourth house. How does this land for you? I'd love to hear in the comments if you feel open to sharing. And thank you so much, Scorpio and Scorpio rising, for being here. Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. This full moon for you is landing in your second house. Your second house, it's the house of your body. It's the house of your connection to finances. It's those themes might be highlighted for you during this full moon. It's how is it going for me in my relationship to money? Is it flowing to and through me? Can I give thanks? I don't know how this lands for you, but even if I start with the idea of I give thanks that money is constantly flowing to and through me, if you start with that idea and then you see what is reflected out from the multiverses to you, even the thought can start a vibrationary, I made up the word, a frequency process. You're having this energy dancing in your chart also with the area the area, the eighth house, which is around communities, groups. No, it's not. Oh my goodness. With inheritances, taxes, other people's money. So Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. I wonder if you might get some news about some sort of inheritance, or if you have not finished doing your taxes yet, now might be a good time to try to tackle that Herculean project. I know that it's not the easiest. I know it's not the easiest. You have support during this full moon, Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, to do something different in terms of your daily routine, your daily, like, okay, I know I'm a Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. I already am mutable fire, so I'm like the embers burning on my hand, blowing out into the world. I'm also the energy of starlight, of glitter, Sagittarius, Sagittarius rising, very expansive, mutable fire. And you're having lightning bolts happening in the area of your chart that is around, this is the way I do things, one day at a time, every day. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I meditate, I go outside and look at the sun. And maybe you want to switch it up right now during this full moon. Maybe it wants to be, okay, I'm going to actually get up, and without even, maybe I'll go tinkle, and then I'll come sit down in the bed and immediately meditate and add in some breathing. Like maybe as a Sagittarius, Sagittarius rising, it's going to be maybe there's some of that wants to come in. Maybe there's some, like, I'm going to do something different around my health. This, with, you have Mars and Uranus in your health house, in your house of my daily routine, in your house of what is my craft. Maybe I'm going to do something new and exciting. Like I'm going to start to make, here's a demonstration. I'm going to learn how to make a friendship bracelet and do that, as a way to focus my mutable fire energy and see how that feels. It's really, it's beautiful. I haven't made one in a very long time, but it feels really good. How does this land for you, Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising? I'd love to hear in the comments. I'm going to pause this and I'm going to go on to the next. Capricorn and Capricorn rising. This full moon is smack in your first house. It's smack in your first house. It's so exciting. I'm pulling it up right here. So you get to have the experience of having this full moon shining a light on the root of your isness. Like here I am as a Capricorn rising, and I'm having an invitation to really lean into the fact that I'm having this lunar energy, soft, feminine, and I want to remind you that Capricorn energy is a feminine sign. It might not feel like it because Saturn rules Capricorn and Saturn is rather masculine, but Capricorn is a feminine sign. So my Capricorn friends, this is me. This is I, that's the correct grammar. This is I dancing back and forth with the flow of this moon, with the flow of this full moon. And can there be some yin energy? Like, oh, I'm going to do, it can it be like, you take a big breath. And I'm an opera singer, so I'm not shy to make noises that sound strange. It's really allowing Capricorns and feel your face soften. Let it be a yawn. I'm picturing that you Capricorn risings are like, what the H is she doing? And it really is an opportunity to lean into that. Remember, Capricorn rising, that the glyph, the image for your sign is a half goat and half merbeast. So can you dive a little more into the soft watery element here of this this full moon? You are an honorable water being. half water, half earth. So here's an invitation to soften here with this full moon, even if it means relax your teeth. There's um, maybe even for 5 minutes during the day on the 21st, you lay back and you allow yourself to do nothing for 5 minutes. I know that that is not easy for Capricorn energy. I know it. I have some of my dearest people in my life have a lot of Capricorn energy, and I'm like, oh, I love watching you do all this stuff. I'm a Pisces, so I'm like, oh wow, look at you go. I don't have any Capricorn placements, so it's very incredible to me the energy that Capricorn people have to do things with their Saturn, just like I'm doing the next right thing over and over and over. So that's coming up for me around this full moon for you. And also there's a conversation happening with the marriage area of your chart, the long-term relationship area of your chart, the I am so yes, maybe I'm as a Capricorn, getting up and doing things, getting up and going, doing, and can I remember that the people with whom I'm in contractual relationships, my maybe my partner, maybe it's family members for a soul contract kind of conversation, maybe they simply want to sit and sit back and enjoy our presences together. Maybe there's, oh, okay, let's allow the conversation to roll. Maybe we can allow there to be periods of silence when we're talking. I'm picturing that this would be uncomfortable for my Capricorn people. Am I correct? And for you, I do want to say, Capricorn, that this is not, it's a tension-filled energy, this full moon, in terms of how it's landing, because it's making an opposition to the sun. The full moon's a full moon always is opposing the sun. And then there's the dance with the Aries Libra axis. So we have, and as a cardinal sign, it's okay. Like you are like, oh, I can handle this. I like to make things happen. I am motivated by tension can get me up and making things happen. I don't just sit back and wait for life to happen to me. I make life happen. Um, Capricorn and Capricorn rising, you're having in your, where is the Taurus energy for you right now? There is a supportive, flowing energy for you, Capricorn rising, with your house of creative projects and the children house. And I'm a Capricorn rising. I'm dancing with the idea of, oh, is there something new and creative I want to try out? Do I want to have extra focus on being with my children if I have children right now? Because it's summer break and there can be a softer, less structured time with my kids. Is that something that's bubbling up for you? That could be with this full moon. You're supported in doing something different with this full moon. Um, and Mars is there to also allow you to have energy for being with the kids, being with and also for allowing creative projects to bubble up and out of you if that is calling you. Again, I remind you that astrology, you have free will. This is a blueprint. This is like a forecast, and you have free will. So you don't have to do anything that there's no have to in astrology. There's no have to. The area of your chart that's around communication and how your mind works can be feeling a little fuzzy right now with Neptune there. And you have your ruling planet, Capricorn rising. You have Saturn in the third house also to help you rein in the fuzziness. Like, oh, I'm not quite sure, like the words aren't coming to me. And then you can call on your ruling planet. Say, Saturn, I need some help. I would like some help. Could you support me in communicating clearly and with intention? And can I invite Venus, the goddess of love, the goddess of beauty, who is in your relationship area of your chart, can I invite her to be on my lips as I communicate as a Capricorn during this full moon? Can I invite you? Have access to Venus. You have access to her. She's in Cancer. I'd like to have her help me talk and communicate to the people with whom I'm having a conversation. I wonder how this lands for you, Capricorn, Capricorn rising. I'm going to pause this and go on to the next sign. I'd love to hear in the comments if you feel like sharing. Thank you. Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Hello. I love you. I love Aquarians. My Venus is in Aquarius. And my North Node's in Aquarius. So I really enjoy you. Thank you for coming to planet Earth. Because I feel like you guys are from other galaxies and other dimensions. And this full moon for you is happening in your 12th house, which is, I love the 12th house. The 12th house is the Piscean house. So think of things, my Aquarian and Aquarius rising friends. Can you imagine, you're the water bearer. You hold the pitcher of water. You're like, okay, here we go. I'm going to pour the water out. And you pour it into Pisces. And so there's an invitation here for you to dive into more Piscean realms with this full moon. So, okay, I'm going to allow in communication with the highest iteration of my ascension team, with my spirit team, with my guides and angels. Hold on one moment. Let me pause this. I am going to, as an Aquarius rising, know that I have a lot of access with this full moon to the all that is. You're having a lot of Aquarius and Aquarius rising with the fact that Uranus has been squaring your sign for since March 6, 2019. It's a lot of invitation for you to be even more led than you usually are by the planet Uranus, which is change, shock, surprises, earthquakes. And also right now you're having Taurus. And the reason I'm saying this is Uranus in Taurus is squaring your sign, is squaring Aquarius. And also right now on this full moon, we have Mars in Taurus also squaring your sign. So you might feel it could feel tension filled during this time. Also, so when there's this kind of tension, for me, what I do first is I pause and I allow there to be 1 or 2 or even 5 minutes before I act. So let's say I have a big feeling, a big emotion. Can I slow things down enough for me to take some big breaths? You are an air sign, so allow your body to be irrigated by air. Okay, I'm allowing my body to be irrigated by air. I'm also allowing there to be a softness around my daily routine, Aquarius rising. Can I allow myself to do less around my daily routine on this full moon? Can there be something that I always have to make sure I have every single dish washed before I go to bed? What happens if maybe one night you don't wash every single dish? I mean, I don't know if that wouldn't actually work for me very well. I need to have the dishes washed. And so that's maybe one thing. It's maybe during this full moon, I'm going to allow something about my daily routine to be, because your 6th house on this full moon is in the sign of Cancer. Can there be some sort of receptivity that you allow in, Aquarius and Aquarius risings? Can you allow in some softness, some letting go around your daily routine, even if it's simply an attitude like, okay, here I go. I'm going to allow a lot of time for me to get from point A to point B so that I don't feel super duper. So I don't feel the Saturn, which is the ancient ruler of my sign as Aquarius rising. Maybe I don't have to feel Saturn so intensely, and maybe I can allow in more moon energy to my experience on this full moon. And this is a suggestion. This is what's coming up for me because I'm feeling like there might be you're having a lot of intensity going on during this full moon. And what can you do to invite in some softness? Yeah, I feel that. I feel that in my whole body when I say that. So I wonder how this lands for you. Again, this full moon is happening in your 12th house, so you can talk to your spirits and guides, to the trees, to the plants, and can you allow in a little yin softness as you are dancing with this full moon, Aquarius and Aquarius rising. I wonder how this lands for you. I'm going to post this and then go on to the next sign. I'd love to hear in the comments if you feel like sharing. Pisces and Pisces rising. Pisces and Pisces rising. This full moon for you is taking place in your 11th house, which is the house of communities, groups, and friends. And there's an opportunity, an invitation with this full moon to, if I'm a Pisces rising, I'm gonna go and actually enjoy being in a group, a community, a friend, my friends. It's another thing that comes up for me around this is there is when I go to my 12-step meetings, I feel like I'm in a community and a group, and it feels really good because I'm a Pisces and a Pisces, I'm not a Pisces, I'm a Pisces sun. And I have been noticing that I can feel lonely lately. And for me, what I do is I go on like an Al-Anon meeting, and that feels really, really helpful to be joined by other people who are interested in healing. Another thing is this is for Pisces and Pisces rising. Are there people to whom you can reach out and say, hey, I'm struggling. Can I please check in with you and connect? Can I connect? That feels like that might feel supportive. And when you have that support during this full moon, you will have, my imagination is you'll have more energy. You're well resourced inside, and then you have energy for doing, there's also an axis here of the 5th house, which is creative projects, being present with, if you happen to have children, with your children or with your inner child, inviting yourself to be more, Pisces rising, you're having a very enormous transit in your sign of Neptune in your sign. It's been going on for like 14 years, I believe. So it can feel like there's even more dissolving happening in your life because there's Neptune at the final degree of your sign, at the root of you, and you also have Saturn there, and Saturn can be nice and sobering for Pisces energy. I think that can feel helpful, like, okay, Saturn, you're here, thank you. You're helping me to stay on task, because I know that I'm really feeling like I want to dive into like fantasy right now and watching Grey's Anatomy, and so what can I do? That is okay. That's okay. And can I come back to use Saturn, and the Capricorn full moon has Saturn dancing in it because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. So can I use Saturn to say, okay, I'm feeling very dissolved and like seaweed. And I'm going to take a structure and contain the seaweed energetically. Is that making sense to you, Pisces and Pisces rising? So again, 11th house, house of friends, communities, and groups. See if you can connect in with a group or community that feels supportive to you and or friends, and allow creative projects to bubble up and out as you are well resourced within because you've reached out to your communities and groups, and see where that takes you. I'd love to hear Pisces rising, how this lands for you. I'm very curious. If you'd like to share in the comments, I look forward to reading that. Thank you, everybody. Those are the 12 signs and how this full moon is dancing with them. I am so grateful that you are all here. Thank you so much for being with me. If you want to find me, you can find me on YouTube at natalielevinastrology.com. Oh no, my YouTube channel is Natalie Levin Astrology. You may find me on my website at Natalie Levin Astrology. I'm on Facebook at Natalie Levin, and I'm on Instagram at Natalie Levin Astrology. And I do work with clients and couples and families and parents and children and pets. And I invite your guides and angels to come and communicate with me as I'm having sessions with you. And I love it so much. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you, Nadiya Shah, for having me. And I will see you soon, everybody, in some form. Okay, take good care.